Now, why wouldn't they have it? Because especially page by page, any lawyer will say, and again, I'm not giving legal advice, I'm just saying any lawyer will say, if you really want to lock it down, especially if you want to use it in a court of law later to show somebody else is stealing from you, then you would better copyright each page individually. Every major thing that you have going on that you need really protected, you'd better not ball it into one copyright. You need to copyright them individually. And that costs 30 bucks a pop, because guess what? The little copyright C bit at the bottom of the site doesn't count. It only counts for a cease and desist. It is possible for a judge to order you to cease and desist if somebody else had the information first and had the copyright C bit at the bottom, and you prove you're the author on archive.org, and then you prove that the other guy is infringing upon your geographical right, which is extremely hard to do. but they cannot sue. I don't care if they made millions and millions selling your stuff. They can't sue you unless they had already past tense registered that information, registered that copyright, registered that trademark, in fact, the TM bit, registered the patent, which isn't going to come up. You can use anyone's website you want. You will, and if you rip out their content and put in your own, they can even sort of prove that you took it from them, but that doesn't mean you're infringing on a copyright, and that doesn't mean you're infringing on a trademark. So and what I would say is this, because people, again, I'm not saying steal stuff from people just to compete with them. That's not really the idea. But I have gone on a search on Google for one industry that had, some sort of technical information, technical studies or whatever else. Oh, whatever. And I'd find some website out there, just basic stuff, not from a university, just some site, okay, that had a template I liked. And this is kind of a really complex one, but it's cool for creating lots of pages if you want to go through the, effort of getting stuff into all of this. However, and I might say I like this template. What I'll do is save this page, and the first thing I'll do, because I've, been through this, I know a lot about this, is go and take out all their stuff, and then I start building my own from scratch. Now, what I would have is their look and feel, but I'd have my own images, and stuff like that, my own business name and everything, not theirs. And I just go ahead and have my own site in my own industry, a completely unrelated industry. And by the way, I wouldn't use this site. I don't like the look of it. And I wouldn't use, yeah, Western Center. I mean, I might use these guys, but if they're a university and stuff, I'm not gonna. Because they probably do actually have trademark stuff going on around here, and I don't know about patent or anything, but I'm just not going to push it that hard. That's almost just cruel. But I could. If somebody said, would I be afraid to take this down and create my own template out of it? And my answer would be probably not, because I would change a lot of stuff, and then I go through and change all the wording and everything, because they can't show that this material to a sale. The fact that this flips has probably not been built into any legal right that they have whatsoever. However, I'd really want to change it a lot, just because it's sort of against my ethics to go that far against an educational center or something like that. But and I'm not even trying to steal from them or anything. It's a little too close to the punch for my taste. But as far as just some guy's site out there, I'll take from one industry a template that I like. I don't care if it's even like vacation travel and it's got the right vacation look to it. And then I'll use it to create this cool, light and breezy ocean view, so that you can kick back and relax and study about Google click fraud on my website. It'll have nothing to do with vacations whatsoever. And there's all this kind of thing that you can do, and it's not an issue. Again, can they come after you? Chances are not really, no, because they can't say you invaded a copyright if you're not. Now, as far as this goes, guess what? This person doesn't even have the copyright C bit at the bottom. You know why? They'd be putting themselves in harm's way, and here's where I'll tell you why. This person right here copied all this content from somebody who created it, who used to be her employer in a competing business before she snuck away from him, stole his content, and created this website. You know how she did it? She rewrote through his content in order to say that it wasn't plagiarized anymore. She changed a bunch of synonyms and so forth. Now, it is still it is still the same stuff. You can't avoid a plagiarism by just changing some synonyms around. If you take a major person's piece of work, I don't care, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, right? Quote, "The Raven nevermore." And if I were to take that, let's say the guy was alive today and he just wrote it last year, and it was "Once upon a midnight dreary while I pondered wake and weary," and I rewrote it. I said, "Once upon a midday sleepy while I daydreamed weak and weary," and I just changed some wording in there, he could still have a claim that I based my work on his original work, right? I can't just say that I created the content simply because I switched some of the words around. And that's the truth when it comes to taking someone's stuff. But at the same time, it doesn't even matter if it's clearly labeled down here, copyright. You can take it and use it all you want until they warn you to stop. You can take just about anything off the net and start using it until they warn you to stop and show proof of having had the copyright before you. Now, again, I'm not trying to say steal stuff and compete with people. You're actually going to raise bad, foul reactions from competitors. Even if you win the argument, now you're going to be in a competitor war. When you try to talk on forums, competitors are going to pounce on you because you are, you're really just riding them to the core. You're making them angry as a blue blazes, and rightfully so. And they feel that you're stealing sales from them through their work, and they will fight back, and they will denounce you in all sorts of ways. And it's massive, and it's ugly, and everything else. I'm not trying to tell you to go steal other people's content and put it up. And frankly, her boss that had this content, for all I know, he took it from somewhere else. And the only reason that they can get away with it is the original writers of the content didn't actually register the copyright. By the way, what if they had a little fill-in that says page updated such and such, and it was actually in the quote-unquote body of the content? Well, every day that updates, it changes the content. So legally, she would have to go re-register the copyright. That's $30 a pop. $30 times the pages per day. Okay? And that would be her only way of keeping it up if she makes changes. If she makes a single change one day, like I said with the word thousands, generate thousands of reports, where maybe it would have said hundreds a while ago. Every time she makes a tiny little change like that, she'd go have to recopyright the whole thing, or else it's not binding anymore. All right? Now, if you copied this stuff and then she copyrighted it and she went at you and said stop, and you said no way, I had it up before you had your copyright, and she goes fine and lets you go, and then you take yours down and then you create yours on another day, recreate it, you think, oh heck, I want to put it back up. Then guess what? It's a new instance. You just created your copy of the content after the copyright was produced. So you're back in the realm of being in harm's way. Now what's her reaction? Her reaction is to remind you or to let you know. She must contact you and say you are impeding, and you say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, and you take it down. By the way, a first contact means nothing. Somebody sends you a strong cease and desist by using their content. Legally, your first reaction gets to be to ignore it. Because they can't show that they tried to contact you just by sending you one little email that may have wound up in your spam folder. They're going to have to try a couple of times, and then if it doesn't work, then they have to try to use an alternate means like your phone, and finally they give up and send you cease and desist postally. Most of the time, it's going to be phony. They're going to send you a cease and desist if you are competing with them, and it's going to be phony because they don't actually have any patents and trademarks. They're just going to say you're infringing on them, but they're not going to name them. And when you say, show me a copy of the registered trademarks, copyrights, whatever, you're going to find that, and if they do, then okay, they actually have one. Now you have a reason to believe it. You never have to believe a cease and desist letter until you physically see proof that you can agree that the U.S. Copyright Office, blah, 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 there is actually a copyright registered for the thing at the U.S. Copyright Office. If it's just a copyright C at the bottom of the page, it's not binding. No one can ever sue you for making money off of theirs until they actually register the thing. And then when you use it, they must tell you to stop. And then if you don't stop, then they have a case. Now, do you know where things get haywire on the wild, wild net? Wild, wild web. Things get haywire this way. What you do is go create a website in Singapore, host your content up in Singapore, and under one domain name. And then they send the cease and desist letter, okay, that makes its way to the postal office in Singapore, because this is what you use as the mailing office. And then it gets forwarded to you. And what do? You say, okay, and you take it off that domain, create a new domain name, new business, Same thing, just different, domain name, different business name, maybe even the same template, and you put it right back up.